Hey guys, it is Thursday of Holy Week, and yesterday we talked about Judas and how he betrayed Jesus, and how we can be praying for the lost. And today we're going to look at something that kind of happened right around that time, right after Judas had decided to betray Jesus, um, and all the disciples are gathering together in the upper room. They're about to have the Lord's Supper. And this happens in John chapter 13. We're going to read verses 1 through 17. But before we do that, I want you to think about if there was one thing that you could do, if you knew that tomorrow was your last day on earth, what would you do today? How would you spend your last few hours? Um, I think one of the first answers I think that a lot of us think about are things that are like super fun to do that we only get a handful of chances to do in our life, like maybe going skydiving or uh, diving in a cage with sharks or something like that, something adventurous or crazy, right? That's usually what's the type of things on our bucket list. But Jesus had a very different idea of what he wanted to do the day before he died. And this is what he does in John chapter 13. He says, now before the feast of the Passover, the Lord's Supper, the last time they took communion with each other, with Jesus, it says, before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. And during supper, when the devil had already put it into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going back to God, he rose from supper. And he laid aside his outer garments, and taking a towel, tied it around his waist. And then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet, and to wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around him. And he came to Simon Peter, who said to him, Lord, do you wash my feet? And Jesus answered him, What I am doing you do not understand now, but afterward you will understand. And Peter said to him, You shall never wash my feet. And Jesus answered him, If I don't wash your feet, you have no share with me. So Simon Peter said to him, Lord, not only my feet, but also my hands and my head. And Jesus said to him, The one who has bathed does not need to wash, except for his feet, but is completely clean. And you are clean, but not every one of you. For he knew who was to betray him. That was why he said, Not all of you are clean. And when he had washed their feet, he put on his outer garments and resumed his place. And he said to them, Do you understand what I have done for you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. And if I, then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also are to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example, that you should also do just as I have done to you. Truly, truly, I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. So think about this, guys. Jesus knows he's going to the cross the next day. He knows that uh, that during midnight or in very early the next morning, he's going to be taken to a trial where it's almost a mock trial. He's going to have no chance, and they're going to sentence him to be beaten. They're going to take him after that trial. They're going to take him to Pontius Pilate, where he's going to be whipped. Where he's going to have the crown of thorns, and then ultimately taken to the cross, where he has the nails driven in his hand. And so, Jesus, knowing these things, said to the disciples, we're to be servants. See, Jesus didn't go off and take the disciples for one last hurrah and go on a fishing trip. He didn't take them to go paintballing, whatever Roman paintballing would look like, whatever fun activity they had to do back then. That's not what Jesus did. He served the people around him, and he encouraged others to serve and follow in his footsteps. I think that's an important lesson for us to learn. That in Jesus' final moments, he was focused on other people, not himself. And so tonight, I want us to take some time, whatever it is, and I want you to serve your families or serve in some way around the house. And maybe you guys are already doing that, and that's awesome. I encourage you to take extra time tonight, whether you've already been doing it or whether tonight may be the first example of you serving. But take extra time tonight and serve those around you, just like Jesus did right before going to the cross. It was that important to him. So let's follow through in his footsteps. Let me pray for us, and then we'll go and serve. Father, thank you so much for all that you do for us, and thank you for giving us this example of serving others and loving others and showing us what that looks like. Not just telling us how to do it, but showing us, Lord. I pray that we would be a people that serve you by action and not just in our words. So, Lord, let us go out and serve those and love those around us. Pray for our students. Pray that they are safe and that their families are safe. And Lord, just help us to get through this crisis, Lord. We love you, and in your name, amen. All right, go and serve. See you guys tomorrow.